Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. This video I'm going to be rebuilding my rear end. I've already, I think I showed you the kit I got last time. It's from Quick Performance. But I will show you what I've done so far. Okay, so here is the completed carrier. So as you can see, I got the bearings put on. Those were pretty straightforward. You just kind of pound them on. Obviously, be very careful when you're putting them on. If you don't have a bearing driver, you do have to seat them just a little bit past the edge. So you just got to be careful. I just used a punch to tap them down. It went on fine. If I heated up the bearing, I'm sure it would have just slid right on. But yeah, that's ready to go. I put my ring gear on. Those, according to Yukon, those were 60 foot-pounds, and I Loctited them as well. Real red Loctite. Never hurt anybody. Yeah, one thing. What else have I done? Oh, I replaced my races inside my retainer here. So I did that, and cleaned up. I think in the last video I showed you, I got everything painted. Everything's cleaned. My test fit, my adjusters here, caps are all cleaned up. Yeah, what else? Oh, bearing is on the pinion here. This, I watched some videos. Guys were just taking a pipe and just pounding on it, getting it down, or putting it in a press or whatever. I measured both. You only have to get it about a thou. Like there's only a thou difference between the shaft and the bearing. So I just put this in the freezer, and I heated up my bearing just, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds, if that, just to heat it up a bit, and it slid right on. So it was very easy. So you don't have to be pounding on anything. Yeah, just went right on. Here's my other bearing. So right now, so I wanted to check a few things before I get started. So one is the Pinion preload. So I've seen a couple things. There's many different numbers that float around. So this is a Ford factory car shop manual, 1969. So we have adjustment torque specifications here, pinion bearing preload, collapsible spacer, which is what we got. Oh, one thing, where did I put it? Here it is. So I had to order another one. So the kit came with two. That kit over there, that's in pieces. These are the wrong ones. That's the one that came out of it. And those are the two. They send you two, which is nice. This is the correct one. Oh God, they're gone. It's gone forever. Oh well. But yeah, these are for a Ford 9-inch. Let me just get that. Okay, I found it. So yeah, where was I? So this is for an 8-inch. These are for a 9-inch. There's a size difference, as you can see. This one goes on, and it's really sloppy. And the correct one should fit on snug. So just a little bit. Yeah, and when it crushes down, it'll keep it nice and even and centered. So yeah, those, unfortunately, like the kit was for, everything else is fine. It's for a Ford 8-inch, so I don't know. Honest mistake, it happens. So, but I think these were, I think it was $5 or something. They're pretty available and cheap. So I got that. And, oh yeah, I wanted to, so yeah, right, bearing preload. 22 new bearings on an 8-inch, as you can see here, 22 to 32 inch-pounds. Now, yeah, inch-pounds. So, which isn't a whole lot. Like, 12 inch-pounds is 1 foot-pound. So we're looking at 2 foot-pounds of torque on the new bearings. If there was existing bearings, the old bearings would only be, yeah, maybe a foot. 8 to 14 inch-pounds. So 1 foot-pound, which is not very much. And that's rotating torque. You know, to get it started is one thing, but you have to measure it while you're going around. So you can use a dial one, or you can use a beam one from what I've seen. So one thing, this is an older, this thing's been around forever. So I wanted to check to make sure it is measuring okay. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So let me just get set up and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I've got my inch-pound torque wrench clamped in the vise here. And so I have exactly 2 pound weight. This is an old dive weight I had. Lead weight, weighs exactly 2 pounds. I put it on a scale, a little kitchen scale, exactly 2 pounds. And here, so 2 pounds at, if it's 1 foot, this is 12 inches, which it's not. So if it was at 12 inches, it would be 24 inch-pounds, right? But this is only about 9 inches. So right here is 9 inches, which is 3/4 of a foot, right? So if you take 24 inch-pounds times 3/4, you get 18 inch-pounds. So if I put this on here and have it balance, it should read about 18 inch-pounds, which, as you can see there, just slightly, can you see? Hold on. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, it's reading just under 20. I don't know if I can zoom in. So it's supposed to be reading 18. Yeah, it looks, the math is adding up. It looks like it's all right, so that's good to know. Especially on such a small measurement. But yeah, only problem I have is book says 22 to 30, 22 to 32, so it's a good range. The notes I have from Yukon say 12 to 15 for new bearings. So I'm not sure which is right. I guess, I don't know. None of this is Yukon except for the carrier. So I torqued this to what they said. The rest is just factory setup. So I guess I'm going to go 22 inch-pounds to get my Pinion preload. Now it does say, where is that? With the oil seal. So, yeah. So number 2, Pinion bearing preload with the, number has a little 2 there. So with oil seal is 22 to 32 foot-pounds. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go by, I think. It's in the manual. I'm sure that's the way it was set up, and it was still, you know, other than that bearing, it was still, you know, seemed to be working okay. So I'm going to get this set back up and see if I can, you know, get this put together. All right, so got my pinion all here, bearings on. Talked about that already. Got my bearing retainer. So I've already oiled this up, so it's ready to go on. Probably wouldn't hurt to put a few drops of oil down there to begin with. Just a 90 weight oil head lying around. So this rear end, it says to specifically use a non-synthetic oil. So not sure if that matters at this point, but anyway, I oiled up my spacer. That's going on. So here's my new bearing. I haven't oiled it yet. A little few drops on it. So this should be a little snug. May have to pound it on. Yeah, so start it on there. So I'm going to clamp this in a vise, and yeah, I'll do that. All right, so it's in there nice and secure. So yeah, the bearings aren't quite seated yet. So I have my impact here, my big Milwaukee. So it's a 1.1/16 socket. So I think I'm ready to start tightening things up. So I've never done this before, so I'm just going to get it so the bearings are seated and then go real slow, because I don't want to over torque it, because I only bought one spacer, which was probably a mistake. There's a reason they send 2 in the kit. So yeah, let's see how this goes. A little bit more. Just gonna give it a spin. There's still a little bit of slop there, so just gotta go on a little bit more. A little bit more. Throw a little bit of oil on there. I guess throw it right in the. There's a hole right there. I'll throw it right in there. All my bearings. There's still a little bit of play there. So it's not moving a whole lot when I hammer on it. My battery's getting a little low. I don't think I've got any preload on it yet. Let's see. Doesn't hurt to stop and measure. That's about 5. But I want to go a little bit more. Oops. Oh, come on. So I want to go to 22. Now this nut feels loose. I wish I had. I don't think that's metric. Shouldn't be. Definitely not. Try a different socket. Okay, so I'm switching over. That thing feels really loose. That feels a little tighter. Same size, still 1/16", but not a cheap socket. So I'm going to switch things up. Since I'm that close, I don't want to use my impact anyway. So I'll clamp this in the vise. Not to wreck anything. Gotta be able to get my wrench on there, so. There you go. So, just give a little bit of a turn. Maybe, if my vise stops moving, take my vise down. For more tightening. Oh, woo! I'm gonna give myself a hernia. Let's go over here. Okay, where were we? Let's try this. That keeps moving. Tighten this down. You know, having a swivel vise is handy, but when it comes to stuff like this, it's a pain in the butt. Ugh. Oh, I don't think that moved any. My back popped, as if that helps any. I can't move that. It's in the vise. Dum-dum. So when I clamp it, I try not to clamp it on the face of it itself without putting something in between. It's kind of a, apparently I've heard that's a machine surface. And you don't want to have any marks or anything on it, so try not to do that. Okay. Still exactly the same. Good. So, you know what? I'm just going to try it with a. One of the other problems is my car is like right here, and it's up on jack stands now. So, just give her one of these. See what happens. Feels like it tightened up a little bit. Oh, the socket did. Nope, same. Okay. Five inch pounds. That socket is not doing well. It seems to be jamming itself on. Did I just loosen my nut off? I don't think it did. Yeah, it's starting to... It's chewing up the nut. That's no good. Let me see if I got another one. Okay, so for some reason a 26 millimeter fits real well. We're going to try that. Make sure you hang on to it. Come on. Maybe a little too well. Get off. There we go. All right. Same, good, excellent. Well, you know, according to the Yukon guidebook, that is actually right, so between 5 and 14. But I'm trying to get 22. Like, it is snug. According to Ford, though, that's not right. Let's try it again. Same. So you're sensing a pattern here. It's tough to, yeah, my battery's almost dead. So as you know, when your battery starts to go dead, you don't get the foot pounds you need out of these things. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's see what I can do, I guess. What I might do... Nah, screw it. I'll just hang on to it. Maybe I'll put a glove on. It's hurting my hands a little bit. I've got tender hands, you know. There we go. Glove. Shock absorption. Oh yeah, that's definitely tighter. Exactly the same. Yep. All right. A 1 inch-pound tighter. Okay. All right. Let's try it again. Oh yeah, now we're talking. So that jumped up to about 15. As we go around here. God, that's awful close. You know what? I think I'm going to leave it at that. Like, it doesn't feel too tight. Like, it's, you know, it's tight. It's at the top end of what Yukon says and a little under the bottom of what the Ford manual says. Between 15 and 22, we're talking 7 inch-pounds, which is a 1/2 foot-pound. on here. Plus I have the seal, which could be dragging, but you know, as it wears in, it may loosen up. But I think at this point, if I try and do it anymore, one, I might wreck that nut, or I end up over tightening it because it, you know, half a foot-pound with a supposedly 600 foot-pound or 600, 450, something like that, foot-pound impact. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it at that. We'll see how it goes. So, yeah, so those are the struggles. But it's together. I don't think I missed anything. I hope not. I don't want to take it apart, to be honest with you. Like, it spins. It's definitely tight. There's preload on it. You know? So, all right, I'm going to leave it at that for this evening. I got a little late start tonight, so I'm going to head in and I will pick up with that differential possibly tomorrow night. So, see you then. Okay, so it is a few days later. I got my pinion all set, ready to go. After I recorded the other night, I did some thinking, and the differing specs, like Yukon called for, I think max it was 15 inch-pounds, and the book, the Ford manual, called for 22 to 32 inch-pounds for a preload for these. Then I think the Yukon one was without an oil seal, from what I can find, where the Ford one calls for the oil seal to be in, which makes more sense to me. Like, why not just do it in one step and be done with it? So yeah, I tightened it up just a little more. So now I'm just under, well, between 20 and 25. Like, that torque wrench only has 5 inch-pound increments. So I can only assume I'm at or near 22 inch-pounds. So that should be good, I guess. So I'm going to leave it at that. And so next, I'm going to install this into here and then see where this lies. I feel like, from what I've seen online, people putting these gear sets in, they have a little bit of a clearance issue with this little pinion support bearing mount. So I got to make sure that that's okay. And if it is okay, I won't have to trim any off. If it is too close, then I'll have to do just shave off a little bit of the casting. It's not a big deal. But I'll have to take it all apart again because I don't want to get anything in there. But oh, I do have to put my bearing in there as well. So I think that might be my next step. So let's do that. Yeah, this hammer should work. Think going in? I'll get my bigger hammer. Alright, it's bottomed out. Let's just see. Make sure, yep, it's on the bottom. And there is a keeper that you have to put in as well. So that should be able to use the same, there we go, thing here. Pound that into place. There we go. Some oil on that. Yeah, sometimes heating it up works, sometimes it doesn't. If it's only like a couple thou, it's not bad. But, or I didn't heat it up enough. I don't know. Either way, we're good. So next, I'm going to put this on. So this whole kit came with a bunch of shims. So I'm just choosing the one that I pulled off. So in the manual, it actually lists a nominal starting shim. I think it was 20 thou is what originally installed, and then they worked down or up from there wherever they needed. What was in it was I think 14 thou, and there is one included in there. So I'm just going to put that on in the right place. So there is an orientation to these. As you can see the leftover marks, and on here there seems to be an orientation, so I'm just going to put it in the same way it came off. And so that way it's up there. So there is an O-ring that goes in here as well, but I'm not going to put that in yet, just in case I have to take it off and on. I don't want to risk wrecking that O-ring, and it doesn't add anything to the pinion at all, so that should go in. Let me oil it up. Where are we? In the right spot? Yep. That goes like this. Oh, how tight those need to be. All right. Well, I have no idea. So that's that. I'm just going to snug them up for now anyway. And yeah, we'll go from there. Right size. Just want to drop that carrier in place. Get all my stuff here. So I've marked my caps. Apparently these are machined to match, same as these, apparently. I don't know. I marked them so they're going to go in the same spot. Same side that I took them off. Yeah. So let's put this on first, I guess. I'll throw a little oil on there. Why not? And then there. And hopefully I'll turn a little bit. Alright, so we do set it in, and I can actually get it so it sits in flush. And this off. I'm not worried about that side. So that is not going to work. So I'm going to have to trim. I still have a little bit of clearance between the teeth, but as you can see here, you can see in there, I'm touching. So if I need to go that way a little bit, that feels like quite a bit, and that's already touching, so I need to take just a little bit off that casting. Yeah, I kind of knew that already, but I didn't want to. I wanted to see how much I actually needed to take. So yeah, so we'll take this all apart. I will grind that off a little bit, make sure I don't get anything in my bearing, and yeah, I'll come back and that's ready. Okay, so I've had it off and on a couple times already. just to check my clearance. Now I've got a little over 60 thou between the carrier and the carrier housing and the carrier. So that's good. So yeah, so now I'm just going to assemble it once again, and then see where we're at. Okay, so that's kind of in place. So right now, it's pretty much at 0 lash. If I tighten these up. Oh, one thing. I found out the torque specs for these. It was on the next page, which I didn't flip to. So that was between 30 and 45 foot-pounds, I think, or 35 and 45 foot-pounds. So I just went in the middle and went 40. So where am I? So I want to go make sure I'm at 0 lash. So I'm going to tighten this side down. In case anybody's wondering, this is not. I have seen some people make their own tool, just like a bar with two, bolts through it. This is not the official Ford tool or even anything anybody was selling, because I looked at it and I thought, well, that's kind of nice to have that to tighten it up. Being trying not to screw anything up, being I've never done this before. So this is not. So the one they were selling was like 120 bucks that fits in the holes. This is a lock nut socket. I think it's for a 4-wheel drive hub. 2 3/8, half-inch drive, and yeah, I went into Princess Auto, saw them sitting there, and I thought, well, that might fit. So the next time I went, I brought one of these with me, and found that one that tightens up, and it works pretty good. So whether I'll use it to actually torque these, I don't know yet, but it's handy for getting these done. So I'm just going to wait. I should probably read my book again. Hold on, because I think one of the first steps was to seat the bearings, if I remember right. So let's not screw anything up. 20 foot-pounds coming up. Check. Okay. So, 20 foot-pounds. We're back. The left adjusting nut is on the left side of the carrier, the right is on the pinion side. Right, pinion side, good. Let's make sure you got the orientation correct for when they're telling you. Loosen the right nut until it's away from the cup. Tighten the left nut until the ring gear is just forced into the pinion with 0 backlash. So, that's loose. You can hear that. Just nice and easy. There. 0 backlash. It's just forced into the pinion, so don't even tighten it down. Then rotate the pinion several revolutions to make sure no binding is evidence. All right. Be sure no binding. Recheck the right nut this time to make sure it's still loose. Yep. Tightening the left nut moves the ring gear into the pinion to decrease backlash, and tightening the right nut moves the ring gear away. Install the dial indicator as shown. So, it is showing, I don't know if you can see that you need that. That's measuring the case spread. I don't have that. So, what I'm going to do is just measure the backlash, because further on down says set up as shown, so you're measuring the spread of the actual case itself, how much it goes away. Tighten the right nut and till it first contacts the bearing cup, then preload the bearings from 0.08 or no 0.008 to 0.012, so 8 thou to 12 thou inch case spread. Rotate the pinion gear several revolutions in each direction while the bearings are loaded to seat the bearings in their cups to be sure no bind is evident. In bold, this step is important. And then you go on to loosen it off. So, yeah, we got 0 lash. That is just tight. So, I'm going to set up a dial gauge. I think that's going to stay. I can sit there. So, this. This is not a good setup, I'll be honest with you. If this moves at all, it throws everything off. So that is 5 thou. All right. Zero. 6 thou. Getting awfully tight, so that's a good sign. I need a little pipe or something. It's tough when you only have like a handle this long to get actual torque on things. But let's try this down here. I'm trying not to pull on a weird angle either, so. There we go. And that was 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 thou. I think when I pulled it off it was actually 10, but we're in spec. Yeah, so from now, rotate the pinion gear several revolutions in each direction while the bearings are loaded. Okay, so that's good. So the next step, loosen the right nut to release any of the preload. And then if there are any backlash between the gears, tighten the left nut to enough to remove this backlash. So set it back to 0 lash essentially. Once you remove the right side, that removes all your preload and your adjustments, so good lord. It's backwards. All right. Oh. Okay, let's see here. All right, so we're gonna loosen this off. Just like so. Yes, nice and easy. Just loosen it off. Yep. Just like that. Good lord. yeah. Okay, loose. I give myself a hernia. God. Come on, you. Why do you like this? Okay. That's loose. And now, oh God. Okay, so we're loosening off this. Make sure we're back to 0 lash. Yep, feels like it. And it says on this side, make sure one of the holes are lined up with that. So I'm just gonna put one of these on just to make sure we're lined up. Okay. Yep. So those are your lock ring retainers, so nothing backs out on you. That looks good. So one of those is lined up. Now, loosen the right nut, blah, 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 blah. Make sure one of the slots on the left nut is so located that the lock can be installed without turning the nut. Carefully tighten the right nut until it just contacts the cup. So we're just looking for slight contact. Okay, just touching, so those are still good. Yeah. Torque these bolts to spec, which is differential bearing cap bolt, 55 to 70 foot-pounds. So, I think somewhere I read somewhere else it was 60, so, which falls in line. So, I like to go in the middle. So yeah, I'll probably just do 60, 62. Why not? Okay. So, what was I doing? Okay. So on removable carry type axles, the preload is 1/8 thou to 12 thou case spread, but we can't do that. So for new bearings, as preload is applied from the right side, the ring gear is forced away from the pinion, which usually results in the correct backlash. So that we can kind of deduce that once you get the proper backlash, that means you have the proper case spread, which means you have the proper preload. So I think that's what we're going to do. So, got 0 backlash now. All right. So we're looking for 8 to 12. I'm going to shoot for 10. So let's see how this goes. This tool actually works pretty good. I'm very happy with that. Other guys use something else, but this, I think it was 20 bucks for the tool, so I think it's probably well worth it. Just gotta hold on to it, make sure it doesn't slip. So, I need glasses. I can't see that close. That's 5 thou, so I'm looking for 10. I didn't move at all. Good. Let's try this way. moved a little bit. There's grease on that one spot I'm looking at. Zero. Now it's a little over 5. All right. Okay. Oh, yeah. Ow. Hurt my shoulder. Okay, where are we here? So now we're at 6.5. Still going. Just doing a little bit at a time. So right now we have one tooth lock, or one of the holes lined up with my retainer. So I bet if I go to the next retaining hole, I think that'll be it. So let's see what happens. See if I can get it there anyway. Oh God, it's tight. Oh. A little more. Oh. Didn't quite make it. I need a bar. Hold on. Or a longer. Oh, I know what I need. There. I got a breaker bar sitting here doing nothing. Here I am screwing around. Okay. This should be a little easier. Oh yeah, much better. Not gonna blow up my shoulder. I'm just trying to line it up with that hole. So if it does work out, we can put that on. So, let's see here. That's 8 thou right there. So I'm looking for 10. Or do I leave it because I'm lined up with a hole? Well, I can go to 12 though, so let's yeah, keep tightening, I guess. One thing I read in the Yukon instructions anyway, it says you really can't, it's tough to get too much preload on these. So you can put anywhere from, like, I think they said 150 foot-pounds to almost 200 foot-pounds of preload on these bearings, and it won't hurt it at all. So see if we'll just go another notch, I guess. It's much easier with the bar. My God, here I am blowing out my whatevers. Yeah, there's 10 thou right there. And my holes line up. So, that is good. What else? What do I gotta do now? So measure the backlash on several teeth around the ring gear. Make sure everything is good. So it says if for some reason you have to adjust these, make sure you always tighten. Don't ever loosen one off or the other. Just always, you're always tightening on both sides right now. So the preload is kind of as it fits, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, when moving the adjusting nuts, the final movement should always be made in a tightening direction. So now, so that's the first step. So I'll give it a spin here and see, make sure not binding anywhere, spinning fine. So now I gotta check my tooth pattern. If we're lucky, it'll be just dead on from the first get-go. I don't know if that's ever happened, but yep, she's spinning fine. So now, yeah, I gotta check the tooth pattern, which I have a handy dandy little brush here and my stuff. So, let's clean the spot off. You guys still see what's going on here? Oops. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So, I don't know what that means. I'll have to look it up. That is my tooth pattern there. I mean, you can see that in there. It doesn't look deep enough, but I will have to see. You can see the marks. They're pretty uniform. Both sides. It's up a little high here. So I will look that up and see. Looks like I'm gonna have to change a spacer in here. We'll see what I gotta do here. Hold please. All right. So I did the same thing I did before. So I took my pinion off. Instead of a 14 thou shim, I now have on a 10 thou shim. That was what I did a little bit of looking. The Ford manual wasn't really that helpful. It just says, these are the patterns that are good. Doesn't tell you how to get there. But the instructions from Yukon were very helpful. Said it was pretty well centered, but it just needed to go a little deeper into the tooth, and the backlash was already set, so that means I had to move my pinion in a little bit. So I went from a 14 thou to a 10 thou shim. So I just painted my teeth, so let's see what happens. Let me get in a little closer here. You see what I'm talking about. So it's centered. It might be able to go in a little bit more. I'll have to look and see. There's the other side. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little higher. Was it the heel side, I think? There's terms for these things. Toe and heel and drive and coast and all that fun stuff. Yeah, I'll take a look to see. Like the Ford manual says, these ones are good. So you can see all these are acceptable apparently. Yeah, I don't have any of those, I don't think. So maybe it almost looks like it needs to go in a little bit more. But I will look. I'll have to do a little research and see. So I'll be back. Let's see if third time's the charm. So take it apart again. This time, the last one actually was 11 thou shim, from what I can measure. Yeah, and this one should be an 8. So just going down a little bit at a time. Where is that spot? There it is. So that looks a little better. It's deeper. The other side looks better. Doesn't look much different, I'll tell you. So I need to go down. I got one more shim. I can go down to a 0.5. Ugh. How deep can I go though? Where's my find? It's tough to tell when it's all yellow. There's my line. Probably can't see that, but let's see. Now, look a little better. Yeah, I don't want to go too much deeper. Yeah, because there's the. Where is it? Right there. You can kind of see the shoulder. or where the bottom's out, right in the valley. There's the back side. Yeah, I don't know. I think it looks okay. I don't know what, so I could go down another 3 thou in my shim. What to do? All right, let me think about this. So as I'm sitting here staring at this pattern, I think it's all right. You can see it's not touching actually here, so there's leaving paint on the outside, so that's a full contact pattern. And same on this side. So I think I'm okay with that. And as I'm spinning it around, I notice that written there, 0.008. Now, I don't know if that's supposed to be the size of shim I use, because that's what I have in there, and it looks good. Is that just a sheer coincidence? What does that mean? I have no idea. Yeah. If that's, why didn't I see that before? That would have saved me some time. But, yeah, I think it looks all right. Like, I'm not going to get a fuller pattern. I like it's making a full contact now. Yeah. And I was pretty confident when I put it together. So I put the O-ring in. I thought this will be it. So, yeah, I'm going to leave it like that. I think it looks good. If I go to my Ford manual, that's pretty much what I'm seeing anyway. Yeah, it's centered. I got full contact. So I think I'm okay with that. So on that note, yeah, what do I gotta do now? Oh, I gotta put my retainers on. I'll do that, and yeah. Hey, well, I tried it in other spots, and it's measuring. It's the same. I checked my backlash again. Everything's good. I checked all my torques on my bolts, and everything's good. I put my little locks on. Yeah. So I think that's it. Yeah, that pattern looks fine to me. I don't know. It matches what I've looked on here and on the Yukon instructions and the internet in general. So, yeah, you can see the pattern on the other teeth as well. I think it looks okay. So I'm going to leave it. On that note, I'm going to finish off this video. So that was how I'm setting up my rear end. Feel free to take whatever you can from that. It may not be right. It may be okay. I went by the book. I don't know. That's how Ford did it. The old ring gear looked great when it came out. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens, I guess. So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next video.